So we're going to do the resume review like we discussed in the last video. I made 2 resumes. These aren't my actual resumes, but they're 2 resumes that we're going to look at. Resume 1, which is kind of like the not so good resume, and then resume 2, which is very similar, but the formatting and some of the corrections have been changed to make it better. Let's dive in real quick. So if you look at resume 1, you can see that it kind of looks like it's all compacted together. Just off the bat, I'm going to just glance through it, look at the education. It looks very small in section. I don't like that the first title says Michigan, USA, and yet you look at the rest of them have cities and country, and then one city and state. Not consistent. I don't like that. But again, education's too small. Company experience kind of mashed together. So I first glanced through this, like a risk officer. I see implemented models for CCAR. Again, that's so short. It's useful to know, but again, it needs more to it, like a context. What type of models did you? I don't know. It's just not good. And from there, I typically just skip through and glance, and the rest of it's other company material, business analysts, conducted monthly reports. It looks good as kind of like the first sweep. The accomplishment section kind of looks ridiculous, like President's Honors Roll, not really relevant. Your public relations officers for a club, that's great, not the best. And you made it through college with no debt, that's great, but has nothing to do with a job. And then computer skills, they list off Word, I guess Microsoft Office, Excel, MATLAB. My first criticism here is Office is listed first, so I'm assuming that their best skills is using Microsoft Word, Microsoft Access. But again, the skills I'm probably looking for are going to be more like SAS, Excel, C++, and those are kind of buried in there. And then, again, interest. I mean, those are great, but I don't really care as a HR recruiter or even a hiring manager. And just in general, there is extra space on the bottom. I'm just assuming this is kind of your first resume. Maybe you don't have a lot of experience. Again, the top of it, though, going back, I don't like that the name and the address are smashed together on the same line. Assuming based on relevance, it looks like your work experience is very important to you since that's the largest section, but the education section is quite small. So let's switch over to resume 2. I'll see some of the corrections that were made. First off, the formatting looks much easier to read. It looks like more relevance just from glancing at kind of the formatting. It doesn't really look like it's squished together. Again, so let's go through this. The name on the top looks great. It's clear, easy to read, phone number, email. All of the states on the right-hand side have the city and the state. Again, if you're doing another country, I would just leave the state off. So, I mean, if it was Ann Arbor, USA, maybe you're from China, you have I don't know, some city on there like Beijing and then put China. That's how I would do it. Just first glance, education looks important. It's much larger than the last section. It has a relevant courses list and relevant topics. You could probably just do one. But again, this is much better than the first one, especially as someone doing HR. I can glance through, see the skills and the background that you have, and I could quickly match that to the job that I'm working with. So again, the first one, if you notice, it actually has implemented models for CCAR. The second one has implemented enterprise-wide pre-provisional net revenue, risk, and financial forecasting modeling used in the CCAR and stress testing process based in macroeconomic scenarios. It's a mouthful, but again, it has everything in there that you would want as a recruiter. They've done PPNR, they've implemented PPNR models, they've done CCAR and the scenario testing. It tells you much more than the last bullet, which makes me actually more willing to read the next bullet. It's much better. It looks like there's actual content here. My criticism on this one, though, is actually there's poor spacing in front of that second bullet. If you actually look back on the first resume, under the business analysts are actually missing a period at the end of one of the first bullet. That's poor. It looks like I didn't pay attention when I wrote that. Again, so there's just small minor corrections that need to be made. I'm more willing to read the entire bullets just because it looks more relevant. Again, if you go down to the business analyst, it's conducted monthly reports for management, which were used in financial planning. You designed and checked products for governmental regulation compliance. Again, these look like they're in the right order. Developing and implementing pricing algorithms is much more important than typically doing contracts and regulatory requirements for somebody that's applying for a more quantitative job, probably a modeling position, which is what this resume is aimed towards. The skills on the bottom are in the right order. They have SAS first, Excel, C++, all skills that that person's probably better at. And then again, the ones that aren't so relevant, like Microsoft Office, is important to know, but again, it's at the end. It's not that important. And then working towards the FRM designation, research and develop trading strategies and algorithm trading. They're similar interests to the other one in skills, I guess, but they're relevant to the actual job. They're not just relevant to your personal interests that have nothing to do with your work life. So again, just reviewing these two, the second resume I feel is much better based on the formatting. It's easier to read. You can tell that the education and the work experience are very important. And then right at the bottom is just a quick list of the skills and activities that you have that are of interest. So that's kind of my quick run through of comparing two resumes. These are just made up resumes I just made up on the fly. These aren't my actual resumes. But again, you notice they're both missing portions at the bottom. If you can fill this area, that's great. If you can't and you're a first time, student just graduating, that's fine too. These resumes would be good examples of what to do and what not to do. I hope you find this video helpful.